Alright, well, greetings and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 Canine Run Episode 1. Now, in this video, bear in mind that I made another episode of this video title, but the upload was aborted. Well, we'll see what happens from here. Now, of course, you're reading this all correctly. The aircraft uses a British Aerospace 146, a repaint, and here we go. Alright. We're not really cold and dark because, you know, as y'all may have heard from before, these airline runs are eternity. And as you can see here, I'm doing a check around the aircraft, as you can see here, because I'm all about my checks and, of course, providing education. And, of course, doing it through entertainment. Checking the back. Passengers on board, believe it or not, are dogs belonging mostly to Canine Companions, but a mix are in Leashes of Valor, and you name the rest of the organizations. And today we're going to go to Jicarilla Apache, the airstrip, that is. And now, while I'm at it, of course, I roll the time, date, and the weather, and that's a beauty of Flight Simulator. I made this video in the late dawn hours of whenever. And, of course, I'm going to go ahead and put this aircraft and ready for turnaround in a minute or two. That's what makes it easier to fly. And bearing in mind that I'm entertaining an external audience, I'm using GoAnimate, Vyond, and Plotagon logic. Just like that. That's GoAnimate, Vyond, and Plotagon logic. Now, bear in mind that if you ever do hear alarms a lot in the video, just know this. I want to be a promise keeper. And, of course, if you hear the alarms in the video, please forgive me. I'm just doing each and everything I can to get the dogs to Jicarilla Apache as fast as I can because, you know, Canine Companions in this fictional video, as well as, of course, Leashes of Valor, those people in the area, they need dog therapy and they need it fast. So that's why we're going. And, of course, I want to be a promise keeper as much as possible. Now, bearing in mind, too, that with what you're seeing here, I actually got a gist of this through glider encampments. Usually in the 2013 and 14 glider encampments I went to. With Civil Air Patrol, of course. Now, the 2011 glider encampment doesn't really count. It was too short. Alright, at this point, I'm going to stop the narration for now.
Airport information, India 1300 Zulu. Wind 262 at 4. Visibility, Niner. Sky condition, few clouds at 4,600 feet, ceiling 13,000 feet broken. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 1 tree. Altimeter, 29.92. ILS runway tree in use. Landing and departing runway 8. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have India. Albuquerque Airport information, India 130.
Clearance delivery Canine Transport 549er ready to copy IFR clearance to 24 November.
Canine Transport 549er is cleared to 24 November Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 climb and maintain 16,000 feet. Departure frequency is 123.9, squawk 2641.
Canine Transport 549er cleared to 24 November Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 climb and maintain 16,000 feet. Departure on 123.9, squawk 2641.
Canine Transport 549er read back correct. Contact ground on 121.9. Good day.
Alright, as you read in the caption, you know, it's true. I'm not trans whatever. It's just that the game chose the voice for some reason. And in case y'all did not know, I'm 100% binary male. Proud of it. Alright, everyone and everything aboard? I think so. I just closed the door. Now I have to close the exterior doors and store the stairs, as you can see here. And I'm going to do control surface checks a lot, and this is a good thing to do because there have been instances when I played the game and the spoilers opened. It's doable, but not recommended. Now, bearing in mind in the glider encampment, there was a time when I was being towed aloft and the spoilers opened. And in some instances, you know, when I went to the 2013 glider encampment for Civil Air Patrol, my IPs, they had to open the spoilers because I was too rough. But I was just introduced and starting out. Now, thanks to these glider encampments, look how far I've gone. This goes to show that even though I have mild high-functioning autism, I want a special issuance pilot license as well as, of course, a statement of demonstrated ability, as you can see here. Reason? I want to survive in the universe. Alright, since I was in turnaround mode, I must put everything away and eventually get pushed back and things like that. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and ready everyone for takeoff.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
And of course, I should get pushed back real soon, as you can see here.
Albuquerque ground, Canine Transport 549er with India ready to taxi IFR.
Canine Transport 549er taxi to and hold short of runway 8 using taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 123.775 when ready. Albuquerque ground UPS 845 requesting pushback. UPS 845 pushback request accepted.
Taxiing hold short runway 8 using taxiway Alpha Canine Transport 549er. Albuquerque ground Canine Transport 549er requesting pushback.
Canine Transport 549er pushback request accepted.
Alright, as I'm pushing away from the gate, you know, I'm going to show and tell you again. You know, I'm not male transitioning to female. It's just that, you know, for some reason, the game chose the voice. And of course, you know, it sounds weird and all, but you know, I'm not the game. I'm not Asobo Studios, and of course,
Albuquerque ground
it just happened to be that way.
requesting the end of pushback.
I'm not sure why, but it's very weird.
Pushback received.
Alright, as I'm pushing back, I'm going to tell you that the rotate speed is 100 knots. And if I have an engine failure before V1, I will land straight ahead. I will yield to oncoming traffic. For example, as we can see here, while we're pushing back, there was an Airbus A330, which is likely a generic, and if he's coming in, you know, dead ahead of me, I go to the aircraft's either right or left. Close the throttle and stop. If I have an engine failure after V1, and I can't get past the Marriott Hotel up in Uptown, I will come back to the Albuquerque Sunport, and of course if I go past it, I'll land at Coronado Airport.
Albuquerque ground Canine Transport 549er requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the left.
Canine Transport 549er, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Albuquerque ground Canine Transport 549er requesting the end of pushback.
Canine Transport 549er request to end pushback received.
Alright, as the A330, as I mentioned here, is moving, I'm going to do some more control surfaces checks and eventually start the engines, which normally take eternity to do. So, alright. While we're at it, I'm going to show and tell you how the flaps work. Then from there, I will start the engines as seen fit, as the A330 is moving. Now, bearing in mind, too, that with airliners taking eternity, I purposely did not put a little slideshow like I did in some of my other videos. Because when I upload the video about entitled Canine Airlines Flight 666 Heavy, delivering some canines to all American City, I'm going to admit this. The video was aborted because it was too long. At least I think that's the case. Now, of course, if for some reason the video makes it, it will be episode 2. Now, while I'm waiting for the A330, I'm going to admit that the A330 is a fairly huge plane, so I'm just going to wait a few. So that way I don't make the same mistake as American Airlines flight number 587. Which, of course, was in the wake of a Japan Airlines 747 and went down in Queens, New York. We don't want to be in the shoes of that flight. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and start the engines. As you can see here. Now the yellow plane, as you can see out the windscreen, that's an Airbus A330. It looks like to me. And now, of course, we're going to bring our attention to the engines here. Looks like I can start the number 4 okay. The A330 just took off while I'm at it, as you might have seen. Alright. As we're starting the engine, I'm going to go ahead and discuss my approach plan to 2-4 November, which is Jicarilla Apache. Alright. Now just bear in mind too that, ATC, the menu got finicky with me and it won't let me acknowledge transmissions, so I'm just going to go ahead and fly this aircraft in there. Not a good plan at all, but, for some reason, on the ATC menu, it would not let me acknowledge option number 1 for some reason. I don't know why it did that, but that's just what it was. And also going into Jicarilla Apache Airport, we'll be going in using GoAnimate, Plotagon, and Beyond Logic. Well, the passengers on board are dogs, so I don't really need to worry about anxiety for them. And hopefully their canine handlers, are not showing any sign of anxiety on the outside as bad. I mean, I know you want to get there because the people there need dog therapy in this video, so what I'm going to show and tell you again is that this is, of course, a fictional scenario of dog therapy being needed in Jicarilla Apache. Or do they need dog therapy? Now, of course, bearing in mind, too, like I said from before, if you hear any warnings in the video, I'm sorry, because, I'm still new to the BAE 146 and I love the plane to death. And if you ask me why I'm using a BAE 146 to fly such a short route, there's only one country in my mind that does that. Norway. They use BAE 146s to get from point Alpha to point Bravo to point Charlie, etc. If only this video was a live stream, would I be able to pick it up again and catch this whole sequence. Now, Drew Bolton, if you're watching this video, please bear in mind that, yes, I got your messages from Facebook and things like that from time of recording. Now, bearing in mind, too, that I'm still figuring out how to connect a second monitor and whatever else he said, which is something I really want to do. And, of course, bearing in mind, too, that I long to improve my videos. And, of course, I long also, to be in a good way famous with the gaming channel as well as my other YouTube accounts. Now, bear in mind, too, that I also have a life in an eBay account to take care of. So sorry for delays as well. You know, other things I can show and tell you in the video is that while I'm waiting, the BAE 146, as you can see here, has been given a couple of nicknames like Whisperjet and or the Quiet Trader because, you know, the jet is not very loud on the outside. So I chose the Whisperjet / Quiet Trader in this video because Norway uses the aircraft for such short routes, and I want to be a promise keeper as best I can. And this promises to get these dogs to Jicarilla Apache Nation to help those, you know, who need dog therapy. And I'm going to make this up too. The Carefree Goldens are also on board. It's my call sign, Canine Transport 549er. It appears I'm almost done with the engine start. All that's left to do is taxi, which I think happens right about now. Or does it? I'm looking at the engine indication and crew alerting system here. It appears we're starting up. And yes, I intended to start the plane up, as we all can see here. And now we are getting some good readings. And yes, here's yet another control surface check, which is a good thing to do. And of course, yes, the control surfaces seem movable. I just hope that the dogs are okay back there, which they usually are. So right now, let's see what happens from here. I'm, of course, putting the flaps down, as you can see here. And I'm going to move my Quiet Trader. Which, yes, I'm doing that right now. Is I'm moving the Quiet Trader. Or Whisperjet, is what you want to call it. And here's a beauty of Flight Simulator while we're at it, too. Those blue things you're seeing there, they guide you to the runway, to wherever you are. As I go to the hold short position, I'm going to go ahead and halt narration, and I'll get back with you really soon from time of recording.
Albuquerque Tower Canine Transport 549 are ready for departure runway 8 IFR to 24 November.
Canine Transport 549er, altimeter 29er, decimal 9er2, wind 262 at 4. Cleared for takeoff runway 8.
Cleared for takeoff runway 8 Canine Transport 549er.
Alright. Clearance received. Now I need to put the Whisperjet / Quiet Trader, or whatever you want to call it, on the runway. Key into position for takeoff. Now I'm not going to follow every blue arrow there. Now, of course, some of you know that I used to watch Channel 1 as my news source in Eisenhower from 2005 to 2008. And in one commercial with the teenagers doing reckless driving, a spokesperson got in the car, which of course does not exist in real life to prevent reckless driving. That's what I think of those blue arrows is. Just like that spokesperson from Channel 1 News. Alright. Well, I suppose we can drive recklessly here. I got a plane. Alright. Taking off now. Canine handlers tell the dogs to hold on. Hold on to them while we're at it too.
Speed alive, both sides. 80 knots cross-checked. V1. Rotate. V2. Positive rate of climb, gearing.
Canine Transport 549er, contact Albuquerque departure on 123.9er. Good day.
Going to 123.9er Canine Transport 549er. Albuquerque departure Canine Transport 549er is at 6,600 feet, climbing 16,000 feet.
Canine Transport 549er, Albuquerque departure altimeter 29er.9er to continue as planned.
Alright, as we're leaving the Duke City main airport here, which is the Duke City Sunport, we're looking over Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're, same time we're breaking data set.
V2 plus 10.
Of course, it
Safe
looks a little
rate
better
of
than
flight,
FSX.
select flat 80.
In fact, a lot better, but not pristinely clear as I want it to be, but I like FS 2020, at least this version for now of Albuquerque, while I'm at it. The reason why is because, you know, in FSX, if you don't have the add-on scenery, you know what FSX got wrong? They put a big building in Glenwood Hills, to name one matter. Or even, of course, to my right. That's an error. In fact, that building, you know, the radiology building, I know it's had something along the lines of radiology. That's to the south of I-40. Now, of course, while I'm at it too, I'm, of course, going to delay my conversations with the ATC just so I can get some beautiful views of Albuquerque and, of course, show off the plane, especially to the schools I've attended, where I currently work from time of recording, which is, of course, Lovey, Indiana, just to the northwest of El Dorado High School. And not to mention, I'm, of course, flying the aircraft over Glenwood Hills and High Desert to show off the plane. Well, while we're at it too, out to my left window there was the Coronado Airport. Like, at this point, you know, this is what's going to happen here. If these engines go out, I'm going to go to Coronado Airport, or at least one of them. Now, of course, we look to our left, El Dorado, and of course there's Lovey, Indiana. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show and tell you some things while we're at it too. Bearing in mind too that, of course, my yoke fell in my lap, and of course I could not get a hold of ATC later on in the video. I don't know why. Option number 1 had failed on the ATC menu, so I had to go VFR all the way into 24 November, and reassuringly, I knew where I was going. And not to mention, my yoke fell in my lap too, so bear in mind that when we go to 24 November, it'll be a rough landing. Now, of course, I'm sure that Norwegians who fly on BAE 146 or quiet traders, you're faced with it. Here it is. Landing in 24 November. Hold on, this is going to be rough, but I have a promise. Those needing dog therapy, we're not going to take as long as, of course, those propeller-driven aircraft, especially those turboprops, because that is not what I felt like flying today from time of recording. For those who like to watch those Go Animate, Dion, and Plotagon videos, I love to watch those grounded videos, so as of now, under my command, ATC is grounded. So I'm going to go ahead and go in there visually. Yeah, this means I'm going to turn the crash settings off. And of course, using Plotagon, Beyond, and Go Animate Logic, I'm going to land the aircraft at Jicarilla Apache Airport, as you can see here. Now, from a recent flight from when I recorded this video, it appears that the only thing that shuts the alarms up is, or silences them, is engage the autopilot. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I want to get this aircraft on the ground from the time of recording. Come on. We got dog therapy to do. Well, I hope I'm not a fool for taking the BAE 146 to go from Albuquerque to Jicarilla Apache. It's just that, you know, due to fjords, cliffs, things like that in Norway, that's why the quiet trader or whisper jet is used a lot to transport people in Norway. Even though the flights are relatively short, I'm of course choosing to fly the aircraft here so I can get the Canine Handlers and of course the canines to the Jicarilla Apache Nation in a timely manner, so the people there can have some dog therapy. There's yet another beauty of flight simulator, like dead ahead of me, and I choose to keep these visual aids on purpose because I like Beyond, Go Animate, and Plotagon. They show me and tell me where these things are. That's the beauty of it. Now in real life, that is a whole different story, you know. Because the Coronado Airport in real life is closed, and all that remains from time of recording are the ramps and runways that once stood there. Just, you know, the imprints from the airport, so to speak. So right now, we're going to Jicarilla Apache Airport, as you can see here. And it makes sense, you know, for me to take the BAE 146 Aeroliner, quiet trader, or whisper jet, whatever you want to call it out there, because the jet is fast. And of course, it's much quicker than, of course, a turboprop aircraft. And I can, of course, fulfill my promises a little better, as you can see here. Now, bearing in mind from time of recording this video, there are things I like other than airplanes. In fact, animals are my special interest too. In fact, my favorite animal is the English Labrador Retriever. But I'm okay with American Labrador Retrievers. This airplane, from time of recording, is in fact full of retrievers. And they're mostly retrievers. The dogs, those are. Alright, here we go. I'm putting the gear down now from time of recording, and we are going to land at Jicarilla Apache Nation. All cabin crew, canines, canine handlers, prepare for landing, please. Thank you. Alright, I begin the landing phase now because I'm a little less than 11 miles away from the airport, and that's not far for this little jet, as you can see here. Now, of course, bear in mind, too, that I'm still in the shoes of Cougar, Merlin, Maverick, and Goose. And whoever replaced Goose. I'm still in their shoes from time of recording, so you might see that I'm going to fly this thing through trees, but reassuringly, the crash settings are turned off. Because what do you know, too? If I have the crash settings on, there's one thing I'm going to say or do here. I'm going to be in the shoes of dead Goose if I had them on. And we don't want a dead Goose as much as possible from recording this video. Well, it looks like Jicarilla Apache is a little less than 8 miles now. That's still not far, but still gotta get this thing in carefully. Well, the distance is getting smaller, and this thing is still too high and too fast. My decision. I gotta get the dogs and their handlers in fast.
T500.
Cabin crew, please take your seats flat.
Alright, since the communications panel is acting finicky, I have the runway in sight.
Sync rate. Sync rate. 1,000.
Point, there's about to be no more thousands of feet. And now
Sync rate.
it's going to decrease to the hundreds.
Pull up.
So right now,
Pull up.
you have not heard a lot of
Pull
narration
up.
because this is the landing phase and it's a very dangerous and critical phase. But it has to be done. So here we go. We're over the trees. And while I'm at it too, I'm thinking of making an episode 2 of Canine Run. Maybe I'll use entitled Karen Airlines Flight 666. If so, to go to where? Yeah, I got you. Airspeed too low. Alright, also, just like Gumby, we're going to fly through the trees. You heard that correctly, just like Gumby, we're flying through the trees. Piece of cake. Why don't you live a lot? Ooh! Here we go. Alright, we're on the ground now. Now I have to slow the aircraft down and let the callouts go accordingly from here. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and transition to one more thing. Alright, video summary.
Yellow and green spoils.
Fictional. Just for
80
entertainment.
knots.
Things you like other than airplanes. Animals. Favorite animal. English Labrador Retriever.
Brake pressure.
But
C.
okay with American Labrador Retriever.
60 knots.
Passengers on board consisted of canine handlers, especially those who are yellow, brown, red and yellow, brown and black and white in terms of race color. All of which so precious in my sight as well. And of course, we have retrievers varying in colors too. Predominantly, they belong to Canine Companions, but many belong to Leashes of Valor and guide dogs for the blind. Alright, Jicarilla Apache looks beautiful from here. Now bearing in mind that I was flying to BAE 146 at one point in time and I ended up landing here, so this definitely looks like a place I want to come back to for canine runs. And for those who live in Jicarilla Apache, if I offended you with the airplane or did something that was not holy to your land, sorry. Especially because I live in New Mexico from time of recording. I just want you to know that this is fictional, of course, and I want to help inspire ideas for your people. And especially, I want you to know that yes, dog therapy is very important for many people. And of course, whatever you do, when the dogs come, please treat them with respect. And make sure they go back to their handlers alive and in one piece as well, please, thank you. There's a lot I can do better about the video. And I'm willing to own up to that. And if there's anything you want me to say and or do better, especially to help silence all the alarms in the cockpit, please let me know in the comment box below, because I will take the Whisper Jet and Quiet Trader up again for a flight. And of course, the reason why I'm going to do it is because you know how in Norway, especially because I'm an experienced traveler in real life, there's fjords and all that. That's why, of course, Norwegians use Whisper Jets and Quiet Traders to move their people from point A to point B. Even freight, that is. Perhaps I should have come in through runway 17 because I realize I'm far away from the ramp now. And of course, I'm just rushing to get there. But what do you know? Always going to be learning. So as I make my way to the ramp, I'm going to say that that's our show. Thanks for watching. If you like, please like and subscribe. And of course, if there's any flight you want me to do, let me know in the comment box below, and or of course send me messages to my Facebook page's gaming channel. And of course, I will work with you about your requests. Alright. As the video concludes, let me find a place to park, deboard the canines, including their handlers, and off to their respected therapy sites. Alright, as for additional narration, because who likes bonuses at the end, we come to a stop. At this point, we're going to pretend to offload the canines and handlers very carefully. Alright, come on, we don't have all day. Let's go. Now deboard carefully. Now of course, I'm checking the plane to make sure it's alright. And it appears it is. She'll be ready for another flight. Thank you for watching. Have an excellent day.